Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anisa Nurfadillah and I come from extensive reading G class. Now I'd like to present about my reading report journal article. Okay, the first one is about online teaching learning in higher education during lockdown period of COVID-19 pandemic. And then the name and number of journal, name of journal, International Journal of Educational Research Open 1 2020. And then the writers are Lokanath Misra, Tushar Gupta Abashri from Mizoram University. And then the years published and pages on 2020, and then consists of 8 pages. Next, method. This journal article used both quantitative and qualitative methodologies to study the perceptions of stakeholders based on the online teaching learning process in health during the lockdown period. This study is delimited to Mizoram University. From this journal article, the result shows that university initiative for online teaching learning mode of instruction commenced through the instructions received from UGC and MHRD under the government of India. Universities' preparedness was geared up in respect of techno-academic blending to a greater extent. Three relevant stakeholders, namely academicians, technicians, and students, started working in tandem to experience and utilize the transition. But from this journal article, we know that students face specific problems like connectivity, and video issues due to the remoteness of their location and could not compromise the quantum of time required for machine learning. Teachers and students use several available online teaching learning tools like Zoom, Google Meet, Facebook, and YouTube streaming. Most of the teachers were trained by institutions who gained hands-on experiences. The differences between online and face-to-face mode of teaching could be deliberated during the training. From this journal article, we know that the teachers were given training on MZU, LMS, and were made to transact teaching. In due course, other online meets In due course, other online platforms were explored. Teachers and students started installing online learning platforms such as Zoom, Google Meet, Telegram, LinkedIn Learning, and so on. Then, teachers uploaded readable lecture handout and others gave full reference books for reading. Also, teachers used their freedom as an individual course instructor was autonomous about imparting instructions, setting questions, and final award of marks. But there is some problem arise from online teaching and learning, like teaching transactions when online without fixing the accountability on the teachers regarding the exact online platform used by them. Since students were returned to their hometown located at remote rural setups without 4G internet connectivity or broadband services and uninterrupted power supply. There were compatibility issues with regard to two-way interactions. Complaints received from teachers and students were more than regarding adaptability. Next, from the first journal article, we can conclude that everyone must learn to live and survive with the present crisis as it is the beginning only in the long run. No can avoid the negligence towards digital transformation in health to develop multimodal approaches to achieve course content objective for better learning outcome can be a better idea to deal with the complexity of online education. Then the government must ensure the availability of reliable communication tools. high-quality digital academic experience, and promote technology-enabled learning for students to bridge the disparities originated in the education system before and after COVID-19. Bef- Before and after COVID-19 catastrophe, which is also inevitably necessary for uninterrupted learning. And few steps should be accounted in the wake of this pandemic to develop such a curriculum that reflects the perceptible change in the content, knowledge, and learning experience of students as well as enable them to think critically. Next, description of second journal article. The title is Digital Transformation of Everyday Life: How COVID-19 Pandemic Transformed the Basic Education of the Young Generation and Why Information Management Research Should Care. And then name of this journal is International Journal of Information Management. Number of the journal is 55 2020. The writers are Neta Livari, Sumita Sharma, Lina Venta Olkkonen, and they are from University of Oulu, Finland. Year published or pages on 2020 that consists of 6 pages. The method that used from the second journal is this research used qualitative methods and used survey from children or their parents and also from their teachers. And then from this journal article, this result show that pandemic forced us to take an extraordinary digital leap in our everyday life and practices, including our children and their education. In a flash, their education was transformed from a traditional classroom practice to a remote, digitalizes one suddenly, and an entire generation of children had to start managing and mastering with digital tools to participate in their compulsory basic education. And of course, this situation required significant adjustment not only from children and their teachers, but also from their families, school administration, and the entire society. Teachers and schools had to take the lead in this sudden, unexpected digital transformation of children's basic educations without being well prepared for it, especially as this happened with such a fast pace, concerned everyone and covered all education levels. All in line with the prior research on digital transformation, it seems that existing technology practice, skills, and competencies, attitudes, as well as cultural aspect can be acting as barriers to digital transformation. However, this study cannot give a comprehensive picture on these complex topics, particularly a deeper look into the intermingled cultural issues, values, attitudes, mindsets, and identities is needed in the future. As digitalization has entered all spheres of our life during the COVID-19 pandemic, if not earlier, we should be making visible how significant our field is in supporting and understanding digitalization, particularly from human, organizational, and business perspective. In addition, we should not only consider student recruitment, but also retention and figure out the new normalcy in their learning practices before they enter the higher education. We should also be more active in preparing the society for digital transformation. We should also consider how we could empower the teachers, schools, and teachers' education to act as leader of digital transformation of education. This requires this require much more than mere adoption of digital tools in teaching practices. This requires strategic thinking, awareness of technology potential, ability to envision alternative features, and to reflect on them as well as change management skill and competences. And then the conclusion from the second journal article, we can conclude that there are issues with technology access and use, both among adults and children involved, as well as with skills and competences needed to integrate the digital tools into learning and teaching practices in meaningful ways to gain benefit from them. Children depend greatly on their parents to take part in their basic education. Some children have benefited from the situation, while others have suffered from. Some teachers have shown great resilience, creativity, and perseverance in responding to the challenging situation of the COVID-19, while others have struggled for information management research. Examination on the young generation's digitalizes lives is warranted in order to prepare for their education as well as for their recruitment. The last, so that's all for my presentation. I'm sorry if I make a mistake or some mistake. Thanks for our attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.